I'm Joe. I'm Joe. I'm originally from London. I'm from London. I mean, I still live in London, yeah. North London. Not far from where I was brought up, in fact. North London. Never managed to escape. But I mean, well, after you've grown up in Zone 1, where'd you move to? Finchley? Islington. I really don't think I could live anywhere else. Well, that's my manner. Well, I don't go nowhere else. Hackney, if you're lucky. I tried West London once, at the start of my gap year. Got a flat with my friend Seb. You know what it's like, had to get away from the parentals. So we weighed up our options. South London? Clearly not. It's a suburban wasteland. And more importantly, dangerously close to France. So, you know, maybe West is best, blah, blah, blah. But Shepherd's Bush was just, no. I wouldn't know what South London was if it came up and kicked me in the cunt. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, my folks helped me to buy a flat in Highbury, which is amazing. Nah, my cousin lives down Elephant and Castle. Totally amazing. What a shithole. And if I'm honest, it means I don't have to pay any rent. A shithole's a shithole though, yeah? Which is fucking amazing. But I still need to work, obviously. I mean, everyone needs to work, don't they? It's, you know, it's really important. I don't really care what I do. It's just cash money, right? But, well, I'm just really profoundly bored at the moment and a little bit down. Yeah. But I don't want to just, whatever. I can't do temping anymore. I mean, fuck no, that shit eats your soul. It is what it is. Or when I was at uni, I worked in a JD Sports for a bit because my student loan hadn't cleared. I sold trainers. I mean, fucking hell, I think I've got a bit more ambition than that. Do you know what I mean? I got a 2-1. Whatever. But I'm on it. Guardian jobs, writing some emails, going for coffees with people, going to the gym, yoga, you know? I go around my girls in the evening, see my nan. My mum was always like, you've got to keep positive about it. But she's right, isn't she? Because you see some people, don't you? And it's like, I don't know what they're doing with their lives. Same shit, you know? Until recently, I was going out a lot. Doesn't bother me. Rinsing my savings, why should it? And spending a lot of time with Seb, again. Sometimes I think maybe I should. He's like a vortex, like, get out of here. A black hole of apathy. My dad lives Southend, but you've been there. He used to get out more. To what he called his office. Last time I was there, some cunt chinned me in the coach station. A massive Wetherspoons halfway down the Holloway Road. The Coronet, a fucking temple to cheap lager. Yeah. And occasionally I'd join him, you know, if I needed to feel better about myself. I'm all right, you know what I mean? I'd sit there all afternoon, counting pork scratchings, getting slowly fucked up. Why shouldn't I be, right? As Seb holds forth on the state of the universe. Because some people, man, sometimes it could be weirdly cathartic. Because some people, man, sometimes it could be weirdly cathartic. Some people, man, sometimes it could be weirdly cathartic. Sometimes it could be weirdly cathartic. Sometimes it could be weirdly cathartic. Like a holiday from reality. Like there's this fella at work, Dean. He's my age, but he looks about 15. Full on bum fluff tash. Serious. Anyway, yeah, he's a right gobby cunt. Always giving it the, you know, fucking never shuts up. I mean, Jesus, with Seb, whole afternoons got wiped out, days obliterated. The next morning, I usually feel so guilty, I'd do something extreme, like head down to Bikram Yoga Old Street and puke my guts up. Sometimes, end of a shift, a few of us will go for a drink down the road. And Dean's always like, this dog can suck my dick. If I see another pair of Nike hairs, I'm gonna eat my asshole. I hardly ever say anything when I'm with Seb. It's odd. It's not that sort of friendship. He just talks at me, never shuts up. And every time it's like fucking Groundhog Day. Dean's pissed up after 2 shandies, and he's like, "Oh, have a couple of them." And he starts giving it the pointy finger at all the regulars, the old boys. And he's like, "Fuck that, fucking look at them," at the top of his whingy little prepubescent voice. "Fuck this lot." And it's always the same. The old fellas, they're all fucked up, been there all day. They can hear him, but they don't care. I don't fucking care either. What a cunt. Seb's thing was to choose punters in the pub and analyse them. Look at him. Look at his weepy old eyes crying beer back into his pint in a never-ending cycle of shame. Or what about him? Well, I'd say he used to be a labourer. Yeah, look at his hands. Meaty, scat, look. He's got no little finger on one of them. Probably lost it in a fight. To his wife, no doubt. His one-legged Irish fishwife with 2 fannies.
What a cunt.
You know? That sort of thing. It could be entertaining.
One time, it was the same old standard shit.
Fucking look at them, the pissed old cunts. They fucking disgust me.
It was a bit much. Do you know what I'm saying? But then this one old boy, looks like he used to do some proper heavy lifting. Big fucking hands, you know what I mean? Actually, he's got no little finger on one of them. Yeah, believe. He staggers up off his stool and he shouts out, and he's fucking wrecked, right? He shouts out, "I'm gonna break your fucking face, you fucking toe rag." And then he falls over.
And I always knew when it was time to leave, because once Seb's done the rounds with everyone in sight, it's 5 o'clock. I feel so pissed and depressed. I'm considering eating my own face. And there's this silence. And then Dean laughs his arse off. He's like, "You see what I mean?" But then some of the other old timers start crowding around the big fella, and they start shouting back, "You little prick! No fucking respect! I'm gonna fucking have you!" And Dean starts getting hysterical like some pissed up chihuahua. He's like, "Come on in! What are you gonna do? And I'm like, "All right, mate, take it easy. We're just having a quiet pint." That and the after-work crowd turning up. Groups of lads, tracksuits, Reebok classics, blah, blah, blah. Necking the Stella. I'd be like, "Taxi!" And then Dean goes, top of his chipmunk voice, "Fucking look at you! What have you cunts got to show for yourself, eh? You're a fucking wasteland!" A wasteland? What the fuck is he talking about? But one day, Seb's been on the whiskey most of the afternoon. I mean, we're both fucking wrecked, and this frightening little fucker walks in. Horrible little sewer rat, like a Cockney Jimmy Cranky. He walks in with a friend, and they start tucking into the lagers. And that day, he's particularly fucking manic, screaming abuse at the whole pub, sloshing lager about. And then, out of nowhere, that drunk old meathead, the one without the pinky, he staggers across the bar, telling the gobby little prick to shut his face. But he's so old and pissed, the excitement's too much for him, and he falls flat on his face. Splat! Then all his mates go nuts, but the sewer rat's loving it, challenging all these old drunks for a fight. And then he says the weirdest thing. He goes, "What have you cunts got to show for yourself? A, fucking look at you. You're a fucking wasteland." A wasteland? What the fuck is he talking about? So that's when I know what's gonna go down. Because you make anyone feel like a stupid cunt, even if they're 150 years old with beer for blood. There's only one way you respond. Do you get me? But Seb pisses himself laughing, and he screams, and I'm thinking, fuck this, I'm out of here. But then I hear this voice from the other end of the bar. Some tall, skinny, posh cunt in a long trench coat. You know the type, right? Spent 200 quid to look like a tramp. And he shouts out, "Here, here! Here, here! Here, here!" And there's this silence. And everyone turns to look at Seb and me, like he's a judge or a fucking in Parliament or some shit. And the wee fella, he takes a few steps towards us, and he just stares at us. And Dean, he shuts the fuck up, he takes a few steps towards the posh tramp who stood there with this other fella, and he just stares them down. And the whole place has shut up. And then Dean goes, and then Rat Boy goes, "What's that, you posh cunt?"
Posh cunt?
What's that? You posh cunt? And lanky Lord Thorntlefuck, he goes proper mental. And Seb, he's whiskey drunk, mad drunk, you know? He jumps up onto our table and screams, "I said, here, 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 fucking here, fucking here!" He's up on the table, screaming the same thing over and over, and the bar staff don't move. Everyone's just looking at him. Me too, I'm just staring. But the tracksuit rat starts laughing his arse off. And Dean starts laughing. And so does drunk Boris Johnson. And they're both shouting. And they're both together, almost singing to each other. Yeah, fucking look at you all. You're a fucking... And then Dean. And then that nutty little pikey. He fucking throws his pint glass up into the air in celebration. He throws his pint glass up into the air in slow-mo. Into the cavernous heavens of the coronet. And then down it comes. Smash. He fucking... There was this little old dear having a dinner. Right on the head of some deaf old lady obliviously eating fish and chips in the corner. What a stupid cunt. And she starts screaming, but Seb's still up there on the table, shouting, "This is a fucking wasteland, you fucking hear me?" And the bar manager suddenly appears, grabbing Dean, who full-on butts him. So the bar staff and half the old drunks, they come piling in on top of Pikey Rat Boy. Pigs turn up, old bacon van full of the fuckers. And then the police turned up. It was a fucking war zone. As soon as that old dear got glass, the whole fucking pub started to clear. But then Seb, I don't know why, and then that dirty cunt up on the table, he gets his cock out and, nah, mate, I ain't even going to say it. And he pisses all over them as they're beating 7 shades of shit out of each other at his feet. He's laughing hysterically, spraying away. And then the old no-pinky meathead, like an avenging angel, he lurches over and he tips up Seb's table, who was righteous though. That big old fucker. He kicked that mad posh cunt's head in. But Seb's still there on the floor with his cock out. That shit is disgusting. But the old lady, that old dear, she's still laid out in her corner. The Rosas didn't fucking see her, did they? And her face is all, probably because she didn't have much of a face left to see. Do you know what I mean? And I just flesh, mate. Flesh. And I'm still standing there, holding a pint. And yeah, well, I'm still standing there holding half a pint of Stella. And yeah, all I could think was this whole place stinks of piss. Whiskey piss. Piss. Posh piss floating in the air. And I look up, thinking I should probably get the fuck out of there. And I'm thinking, fuck me. This is one for the memoirs. You know what I mean? And then I see the whole place is empty, apart from that little pikey's sidekick, who's still standing on the other side of the pub. And I'm looking round, not a soul. But then I see that mad posh cunt's friend still standing with a pint in his hand. And he clocks me. And he's looking at me. And then he says hello. And I'm like, all right? And I say hello back, across the battlefield. And I thought, fuck this, I'm going home. You know what I mean? And then he starts walking towards the door and I was like, yeah, time for bed. But he follows me to the door and we get there at the same moment. So I followed him out and it was weird, and it was a bit fucking weird because we get to the door at the same moment and he looks at me and nods. He looks a bit embarrassed and then he apologises. I don't know why, but I'm like, sorry about that. And fuck knows why, but I'm like, yeah, me too, yeah, me too. And we're silent. And then he blurted out, I'm like, I don't need this shit anymore. I don't need this shit anymore. And I just said, yeah, me too, I don't need this shit. He's like, yeah, I don't need this shit. And he's looking at me, dead in the eye, and he eyeballs me. And then we both say at the same time, I'm Joe. I'm Joe.